Landon Dickerson injury update. Did Eagles star O-lineman tear his ACL? What we know Philadelphia, the signs were ominous when Eagles left guard Landon Dickerson went down to the ground during the last session of the team's public practice in front of about 50,000 fans at Lincoln Financial Field on August 10th. Dickerson stayed down for a few minutes as several concerned teammates kneeled near him. Dickerson was eventually helped to his feet and limped slowly to the sideline. Right tackle Lane Johnson threw his helmet in disgust. As Dickerson sat on a bench on the sidelines talking to trainers, left tackle Jordan Mailata stood next to him, the concern palpable on his face. Dickerson was then placed into a cart and driven to the locker room, holding his right knee. What we know about Landon Dickerson's injury, there was no word from the Eagles about Dickerson's status after the 2-hour practice. The players have a day off on August 11th, but ESPN reported that Dickerson is expected to have an MRI on his right knee. Need a break? Play the USA Today Daily Crossword Puzzle. If it's a torn ACL, Dickerson would likely miss the 2025 regular season. That would be a big loss for the Eagles considering that Dickerson has been selected to the Pro Bowl in each of the past 3 seasons. The 6'6", 332-pound Dickerson and Mailata, who's 6'8", 365 pounds, have anchored the left side of the Eagles' offensive line for the past 3 seasons. Landon Dickerson's injury history. Dickerson has had a long history of knee and ankle injuries dating back to 2016, when he first tore the ACL in his right knee while at Florida State. Dickerson also tore the ACL in his left knee as a senior at Alabama in 2020. He also has had surgery on both ankles while in college. The Eagles drafted Dickerson in the 2nd round in 2021, taking a chance that Dickerson, considered a first-round talent, could hold up. And for the most part, Dickerson has done just that, playing at least 16 games in each of the last 3 seasons, despite occasionally getting listed on the injury report with knee or ankle injuries. Landon Dickerson injury star O-lineman hurt. Jalen Hurts' unlikely source for improving as running QB cornerback battles. Why Eagles set up Kelly Ringo to fail with a message for cornerback they traded for drafted as a center and possible heir apparent to Jason Kelce. Dickerson moves to left guard early in the 2021 season to replace the injured Isaac Seumalo. He has remained there ever since. The Eagles drafted Cam Jurgens in 2022, and he eventually became Kelce's successor at center. Dickerson actually moved back to center last January 26th in the NFC Championship game to replace Jurgens, who was having back issues. But Dickerson had to leave the game at halftime because his knee was acting up. Jurgens ended up playing the second half of the Eagles' 55-23 win over the Washington Commanders. Dickerson did play in the Super Bowl, a 40-20 win over the Kansas City Chiefs, but he also had off-season knee surgery. Dickerson returned in time for spring practices and training camp, and occasionally would be listed as limited on the Eagles' practice report. In fact, Dickerson was listed as limited on August 9th, and he did not take part in team drills that day. Dickerson was not listed as having any limitations for the August 10th practice. Who would replace Landon Dickerson? It would be a big blow to the Eagles' offensive line if Dickerson is sidelined for a lengthy period of time. On the one hand, the Eagles acquired guard Kenyon, a first-round pick of the Houston Texans in 2022, when they traded safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Texans in March. On the other hand, Green was a major disappointment in Houston, and he hasn't shown much since coming to Philadelphia. He was expected to compete with Tyler Stain for the starting job at right guard. Yet Stain has taken every first-team rep in practice, while Green has played exclusively at left guard. Even worse, Green has been with the 3rd unit lately as Brett Toth has taken the second-team reps. That was also the case in the Eagles' preseason game against the Bengals on August 7th. Since the starters on offense rested, Toth started and played into the 3rd quarter. Green replaced him, but left shortly thereafter with a shoulder injury. He hasn't practiced since. Toth, meanwhile, is in his 5th season with the Eagles. Toth has spent most of his time in Philly on the practice squad, including most of last season. Toth was promoted to the active roster during the playoffs. Toth has played in 20 games in his career, starting 2. One of those starts came last season in the regular season finale. Green was a full-time starter with the Texans up until late last season, when he lost his job after an injured reserve stint. But he was rated among the worst guards in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus, in each of his 3 seasons in Houston. The Eagles also have veteran Matt Pryor, a free agent signee who began his career with the Eagles in 2018 as a 6th-round draft pick. Pryor has experience both at tackle and guard. They also have Trevor Keegan, who was their 6th-round pick in 2024. Keegan has also been learning how to play center. The Eagles are already trying a new player at right guard in Stain after allowing veteran Mekhi Becton to leave in free agency. Becton, who started 15 games last season, signed with the Los Angeles Chargers. What Eagles OL coach Jeff Stoutland had to say about Kenyon Green. Eagles offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland was interviewed on July 29th. He was asked then if the plan was to keep Green at left guard instead of having him compete with Stain on the right side. For right now, Stoutland said, "Guys get banged up and stuff, and they lose some reps. So we're trying to get more and more reps for him and get him comfortable. We have some things, and he knows you need to work on balance and body control. Your hands are lacking. So we try to target each day or each week what we need to help a player so they can achieve that in practice.